This is the Haute42 C16. You guys have been very excited about this one, and for good reason. It's packed full of features and comes up with so many solutions that it's going to be very difficult to recommend any other model over this one. And that's a good thing, because plenty of newcomers often find themselves baffled by the array of choices when they stumble upon this brand. The way I see it, we can narrow things down to three main options. Do you want modularity, and is your wife a forgiving person? If so, the X series is for you. This thing is premium, it's beautiful, but it's very much for those who can afford it. Or do you want, in my opinion, the best finger spacing available? Consider the M Ultra. This is currently my favorite Haute42 model and goes to S tier when paired up with the shadow hunting switches. If someone said to me they don't care about aluminium and they want easy art mods, that's when I would recommend the Haute42 C16. This is currently about £67, that's roughly $90 before whatever is happening in the US with the tariffs. That price isn't far off from the acrylic stack models, but it offers so much more. So let's take a closer look today and see what that offering is. Before I tell you about the features, I just want to quickly thank Haute42 for sending this over to me for the purpose of making this video. I do get to keep the controller, but no instructions were given and all opinions are my own. So what are these solutions I spoke of earlier? The first are these RGB rims. These rims sit flush with the controller so they won't impede your fingers if you need to do slide techniques. That is fantastic, but the best thing about them is the fact they allow you to choose whichever switches you want, whilst getting the maximum RGB effect on offer. In their older models, you might keep the stock crystals if you want better RGB, but if you wanted a creamier sound or lower activation, your RGB would suffer. Not the case here, the LEDs light up the whole rim regardless of what switch you have installed. Another feature not seen on any other hot model is this panel lighting. The rim of this acrylic panel lights up, and I can imagine some creative people making use of this feature to enhance their art mods. And on the top we have their best function roll yet, in my opinion. This is similar to what we saw on the X, but it's better. The labeling actually lights up or turns off if you have the tournament lock on. This is perfect for my old forgetful brain, because now I can always see which button I need in any kind of lighting situation. The screen pops behind the glossy panel because it sits closer to the surface. And they've also improved the buttons from the X model slightly. The adjacent buttons don't move as much when activating them, which wasn't a big deal on the X, just an OCD thing I have. But how cool is it that they addressed and improved such a small detail? If they haven't expressed this to you before, I'm gonna do it for them. Haute42 loves you. I do have to mention a small thing though, the lighting on the edges aren't consistent. It seems like maybe the LEDs don't go all the way to the end. I'm not sure if this is intended or not, because it still looks kind of cool to me, having the logo as a gradient going bright to dark. It probably would look better if the whole thing was in a dark subtle grey though. Finally, the last big headline feature here is the magnetized acrylic panel. This is perfect for art modders, and especially fickle art modders, because the panel is released simply by pressing a button on the back. You don't even need any art on this, it looks industrial and clean just on its own. But to start you off, Haute42 has included 4 pieces of art and 2 blank papers for you to draw or paint on, whatever your skill set is, and I'm really looking forward to what you guys and gals can do with these. This is absolutely not like the ones that came with the U16, it's much easier to work with these ones because of the matte finish. As you can see, my girlfriend has done an amazing job with my one. The acrylic sits flush and does not move around during play. I was asked by Relentless Rolento, which is a scary name by the way, I'd hate to run a set with you on Alpha 3, about how many art papers can be reasonably stacked, and I would say just put 1 in there if you can. At a stretch you can put in 2 or 3, but at higher amounts the acrylic will start to raise and cause a bit of damage to the papers. The top part of mine is slightly raised because the acrylic has bent due to me raising it a bunch of times. I don't know about physics enough to say whether or not this will eventually flatten out, but it's only noticeable if you're looking for it anyway. It doesn't affect how it looks or feels. So what about the rest of the controller? The chassis is a custom build, so it looks fully unique and legit. There's a curve on the chin. This is very smooth, very comfortable, and has an excellent pixelated finish on it that interacts with reflections. The top and bottom borders create a bit of an illusion, so it looks like a short controller, but it's actually 200mm tall. The dimensions are the same as the M Plus and M Ultra, which is to my preference because it's great for lap play. We have two USB sockets and an eXT port for dongles. The USB socket at the top is collapsed, which in theory should protect it from accidental nudging. It has a fantastic ambient RGB strip, and around the back are two large anti-slip pads and the acrylic top release button. The back plate is a thin layer of aluminium, and all in all I would say the build, materials and quality are fantastic. It's light enough to pick up easily, but also weighty enough to feel robust. Like all other Haute42 controllers, the C16 runs on the GP2040 software, so it has plenty of fantastic features like SLCD cleaning modes, pin mapping, a helpful screen, and compatibility with many platforms, although you will require a dongle for the PS5 and Series X. For the PS5, I highly recommend the Bluetooth 5, also by Haute42. Along with all that stuff, we have a tournament lock and RGB toggle switch. The bells and whistles are present. Aesthetically, it's very pleasing. It doesn't look like something you could have made yourself in the garage. This is as legit as it gets. We're rocking 23mm keycaps on the action buttons and 25mm on the jump. There should be plenty of compatible keycaps out there like Haute42's own selection, which you can see demonstrated here and available in the links below. As mentioned in my first impressions video from a while back, we have wind engines pre-installed. These switches sound and feel great, which is fantastic. I wouldn't swap these out unless you want your keycaps to sit lower, in which case I recommend the shadow hunting switches. I've seen questions arise about removing the rims. I couldn't figure out how to remove them from the top. I did unscrew the aluminium panel around the back, but the controller didn't dismantle easily, so I stopped going further since I need an actual working controller to deliver this review. Anyways, I don't really see the point of removing these because they sit flush and won't cause any issues with sliding techniques. Finally, this is not a mod, but if you need to take your C16 on the road, it fits perfectly into Haute42's brand new carry case, along with your accessories. For this comparison, I have Haute42's original art moddable controller, the U16. I'm going to be blunt with this. If you want an easy art moddable Haute42, just get the C16. It is easy to do on the U16 with the included tool, but that doesn't beat pressing one button. Everything about this controller is better, from the build quality, the chassis, the sound, and even the art blanks. The only reason you might want the U16 is if you absolutely want raised rims, if you want more canvas space for your art, and if you want a feather-light controller. Otherwise, make your life easy. This is the Ultra. I mentioned it earlier and it's my current daily driver. And although the controller and features are a lot simpler, the spacing, layout, sound and feel of the Ultra for me is undefeated when paired with the shadow hunting switches. The spacing on the C16 is unique within the Haute family, and the closest comparable ones are the R and M models. You can see that comparison on screen right now. All the buttons are easy to reach, and I like the position of the RS, but I do prefer my jump button ever so slightly higher. That's not to say the spacing on the C is bad, it's just not as good as the Ultra for my hands. I feel that the main choice between these two comes down to art modding. If you want easy art mods, get the C16, but ultimately I don't think you would be disappointed with either of them. So I hope I've made it pretty clear throughout this video. If you're looking for your first Haute42 controller, you can stop looking now. Just grab this one. This controller feels good, it sounds good, and it looks good. It simply does everything well. The only reason you might choose another model is if you have very particular needs. For example, I've mentioned the modularity of the X series, the finger spacing of the M Ultra, the R and the U series has rims, and of course, you can get a smaller one if that's what you need. Otherwise, make sure this is at the top of your list for considerations. Time and time again, Haute42 has raised the bar when it comes to value for money and upping their game. The C16 is a clear example of this ethos. I haven't asked Haute42 what the C stands for in this model, but I'm pretty sure that within this price range, we have a champion. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I'm a 9-to-5 office guy these days, so bringing you these full-length productions has been quite a challenge, but it's always a joy to share my passion with you lot and to connect through our hobbies. So thank you so much for your patience. I hope you continue to be patient with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps out a ton, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.